Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on our authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hello. Hello. I'm Beverly Plauché, and I decided to write this book about 10 years ago. The Lord gave me the thought to write a book, and this lady said, "You need to write a book." Well, I didn't really believe her. And then 2 weeks later, the same thing happened. And I went home that night and I said, "Lord, if you want me to write a book, I need the title." Immediately I got the thought, Walking with the Lord, what a way to go. And that's when I decided to write the book. It took me a while to write it, because I really didn't have the faith to do it. But I kept at it and I kept at it, and finally it came to tuition. When I met my husband, he said, "You ought to write, God's going to give you a $300 a month raise." And I went, wow. And I'd been raised in church, had the facts in my head, but they weren't in my heart. And 3 days later, he said, "Beverly, the Lord gave me the thought, He misses you." So I decided at that point to accept Jesus in my heart. And that's exactly what I did. And I started writing the book from my heart. So I was married 10 years in a rotten marriage, and I really didn't have God in my heart. And then when I divorced my husband, I met my new husband in about a year, and that's when my whole world opened up to me. God gave me thoughts and ideas of how I could live for Him. I prayed and I said, Lord, you give Dawn a dissertation. I want a little bit of that. Well, about a little while later, I was sitting in church and there was a stranger beside me. At the end of church, I had this thought, ask her if she needs a prayer partner. I didn't really want to, but I decided to ask her. She was from Brazil. She'd been praying for a prayer partner, and we became good friends. Then, and this is the book that I wrote, Walking with the Lord. What a way to go. It says, for 33 years, Beverly K. Plauché lived on her own. She was very independent. She was married and had one child. The important thing to remember was that she was independent of God. She didn't even know what she was missing. She thought she believed in God, but she did what she wanted when she wanted. She prayed to God. Sometimes her prayers were answered, but that special relationship with God just wasn't there. She had quite a few good things happen in her life, but the best was yet to come. She divorced her first husband. She had a need and didn't even know what it was. Remember, she wasn't saved yet, but since she believed in God, she prayed she would meet a man who would sit with her in church. The very next Sunday, that's exactly what happened. She met Don Plauché. Wow. She had a 15-year-old daughter and a 5-month-old daughter. Don had never been married and didn't look like they fit, but God had a different story. God and Don really changed her life. Her heart was changed. She started thinking differently and about things in her life. It didn't happen overnight, and it was a slow process, but even the end results are marvelous. She actually started asking God for her direction before she did something. It was hard at first and let God do it His way, but once she made that decision, it was like she was on automatic pilot. What a way to go. God gave Don the idea to go to Africa. Wow. But we didn't know where we're going to go or what we're going to do. But we went to Cross for the Nations to go swimming. And when we got over there, Don was telling these guys his vision for Africa. And they said, see those people in the water? They're from Senegal, Africa. We met them and we got to know them, but we still didn't have a way to go to Africa. So we kept doing different things. And then one time I was in my work, and they did a cost reduction where if you think of a way to save money, you can have a cost reduction and get money. So that's what I did. And some guy in Chicago put me on the team. Wow. He put me on the team. We actually got to go to Africa on the money that Quaker gave us. What a miracle. We got to Africa, and we got to go to Goree, where they sent the slaves, and it was a sad place, but it was a good place because you could see God's hand in the area. Then Don didn't know where we're going to go because God showed him something about water. Well, we didn't know what to do, and Michael said, Don, I'll go anywhere you want to go, but I have to be back by Tuesday. So we prayed, and Don, Michael called this man in Africa, and she said, I'll get different missionaries together, and you can stay with them on the weekend. The first weekend we stayed with an African missionary, and they took us to a movie. Believe it or not, it was in the street. Then we went to a Baptist missionary, and a tribe man had just died, and Don got to go to the funeral, and he was really impressed by it. And then the last thing we did was go to a tribe, a leader of a tribe member picked us up and took us to a tribe. They set us in a little circle, and they said these people have to walk 12 miles every day to get water. And that was really sad. And Don started crying when he heard that. We didn't have a way at the time to get them their water. We went to this little hut, and Wiva had brought us some cheese and some crackers. And then the people started bringing us their food. How touching was that they brought their food. So we didn't get them the water, but they were able to get a pipe that now they didn't have to walk. They could just go in their tribe and get their money. Thank you, Letty. I appreciate that. Do you have anything to ask me? My favorite Bible verse is Jesus takes care of everyone. Do you have any other questions? Well, so on the way home, we were going to get on the airport, and they were going to charge us $200 for luggage. Going in, we hadn't been charged anything but there, and I didn't have but $27, so I turned around, and there was a charge account. So I charged the money, and we walked to the exit, and now they said airport tax $40. We did not have the $40. So I started walking around, and we started asking people. And the last person we asked took us to the man, and he told him something, and they let us on the plane for $27. What a miracle. God began our mission with a miracle, and he ended our mission with a miracle. How great can it be? And then one time, no, not now, but I may change my mind. I'm not writing a book right now, but I might change my mind. Of all the good things that happened, one thing happened that wasn't good. We had a son, and he was 13 years old, and he and my husband went hunting, and my son accidentally shot and killed my husband. That time was really devastating, and I couldn't talk to Brad about it because I would cry. And I had him take hunting lessons, and he came home from the lessons and he said, "Mom, I used to feel guilty, but I don't anymore because we weren't wearing orange." That made me feel so good because he was taking in what happened. So I got him into college, and I was so happy. And he was driving, and he got stopped and he had marijuana in the car, and the police officer arrested him and kicked him out of school. He moved home with me, which was good, but he was so confused about God. He just didn't know what was going on. And my message to readers is to really let God's word sink into your heart and let his spirit shine out of you. And so 2 weeks later, like I said, my son was really confused about God, and he didn't know which end was up. Thank you for your compliment. I really appreciate it. And so my son said, "Mom, I have a joy that only God could give me. God saved Bradley." I was so happy that God saved Bradley. My favorite song is about the person whose girlfriend died, but God kept him alive and well. The God did him miracles and just provided the man with love and compassion. It was an amazing feeling when my husband said, "God said he misses you." What a way to go. That was the best feeling I could ever have, because for once I could ask God what he wanted me to do and how he wanted me to act. And I found out that God is in control, not me. And so I learned how to, every time I pray, I say, "God, your will be done." And now I never have to worry. But I really feel good that you feel blessed right now, because I have felt blessed for about 10 years, and my life is still exciting. And it's so great to be living in God's world instead of mine. God always looks at our heart. He always wants to have a good relationship with us. He always wants to show us the truth of living with Him and loving Him. And that's what's so important to me. One time my friend didn't even like me, and she decided to go out to eat. We went to a ski trip, and it was really bad weather, and we stayed in a hotel, and the men stayed in one room and the women stayed in one room, and she and I got to be good friends. We'd always wanted to lose weight, so we got together once a week on Wednesday night, and we talked about God, and we talked about our experiences with God, and we loved the Lord one time I was eating out with her, and I just started telling the waiter that my husband could hear from God. And he listened to me. I was amazed because the waiter was listening to me. I told him about how Don could hear from God and how Don was really close to God and listened to God. And Kathy, she had all the stories about God in the Bible. So we just got to know him better, and we got to know how he works and how he wants us to experience his love and his kindness. And we really have enjoyed each other. And at the end of our conversation, that man got saved. I was shocked because a perfect stranger got saved. And since then, many people have been interested in hearing about the Lord. They have wanted to hear about the Lord, and they were just excited about knowing more about the Lord. One time, I'd answer the phone at work. Hello, this is Beverly. And my husband said, I cannot believe you're answering the phone that way. So I started trying to be happy, but I didn't feel like it. And so nothing was really going well at that point. But I decided to pray, and I said, Lord, you give Don a dissertation. I want a little bit of that. And one night he said to me, Beverly, you are the love of my life. And I love you and want you, Beverly, to listen to me, to do my word, and to be close to me. So my life has been wonderful, glorious, and I will always walk with the Lord. I will never, ever change my mind about walking with the Lord. He's my Lord and Savior. He's my holy God, and I will always be thankful to Him for what He does for me. Bye-bye. Bye, and thank you.